Hey, welcome back. It's another week. So it's another blog day. So this week's blog is Birds of a Feather. And if you've never heard that before, of course, that just means that who you hang out with is who you are like, right? And so in the last few years, there have been a couple of books. One most recently is the Henry Nouwen book, Discerning. Oh, I lost it because I didn't underline it. So it's called Discernment, Reading the Signs of Life by Henry Nouwen. And then the other book that I read, actually audio read, so I listened to it, is Build Your Network Marketing by Jim Rohn. And that was, probably 3 years ago at this point. But anyway, the two men are talking about the same thing. They're talking about self-understanding and personal growth. So Jim Rohn has you look at the 5 people of whom you hang out with the most, because he says that you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And then Henry Nouwen actually has you look at the 3 most people that you are that you're closest to, and then to understand what they reflect back to you. But first, let's talk about Jim Rohn and his book, Building Your Network Marketing Business, copyright 2008. And like I said, he said that the average of the 5 people, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So who are my 5 people? They kind of end up being 6, right? Because I can't decide who I spend more time with as my 5th. My people are my 3 family members, and then my closest friend, and my office mate, or my mom. I'm not quite sure who I spend more time with. I think just by default, maybe my office mate. So it's important to know, because what they express to you, you shape who you are, and it shapes your thoughts and your self-image, because you end up replaying what they have to say. And so the inner circle of 5 infiltrate your subconscious outlook and thought patterns. They either bring you or me, right, down to the basement, or they raise you to the balcony. And these 5 are constantly speaking life or death over you. They will either give you encouragement or discouragement. They'll free you from your chains, or they'll help reinforce the bondage of your limiting beliefs. These people are important because when you are ready to change, you want to hang out with the catalysts and the balcony people, the people that will breathe life over you, the people that will help you free you from your chains. And so those are the people that you need to spend time with. So look around you. Actually, I don't have anybody here except for the dogs, and that's okay. But who are your 5 people? I told you who my 5 were, right? And then you need to decide if they are balcony people or basement people. One way to tell after you spend time with them is to reflect on how you feel. Do you feel good and emotionally full? Or do you feel bad and emotionally drained? If there are people in your life who drain you, it's time to cut ties, right? Do you feel gross when you're done talking with them or interacting on Facebook even? You don't even have to talk. Then you cut ties with them the best you can, if you can't completely. And then you need to allow God to bring you a balcony person into your life to replace them. So pray for that person. Pray for the person you're cutting ties with, because maybe they don't realize they're a basement person. Maybe pray for your balcony person to come into your life, so you have yet another person to raise your self-esteem. Not only you can really raise your self-esteem, but then you have somebody breathing life over you, speaking life over you. And that is important. So like I said, cut your ties the best you can, but what if you're tethered biologically or sacramentally to a basement person? Then it becomes a whole lot trickier, right? So the very first thing to do is to recognize if the person is abusive or if the person is a basement person. So if the person is abusive, then you should get out of the relationship. I know, easier said than done because abusive relationships are built on manipulation. And so then you feel guilty for leaving the abusive person. You feel that you deserved the abuse. You, um, and then you are the one who caused the abusive person to do whatever he or she did to you. And just so you know, and so you can remember, that's not your fault. The one who's receiving the abuse, it is not your fault. You're not the reason why that person gets mad and hits you. You are not the person, you're not the reason why that person um, will yell at you or do other things that manipulate your relationship and make you feel gross, because it's not your fault. It's the other person. And get out. That's all I can really say, is just get out of that kind of a relationship. So let's say your person, that one of your people, of your 5, right, is not abusive, but they are a basement person. Like, they drain you and you're like, dude, I don't want to hang out with that person. They make me feel gross, but it's not necessarily in a manipulative way. So you can try and have a productive conversation that may or may not work, but it's always worth a try, right? You can have conversations with these people. Remember to keep it safe and private and not have the conversation in the heat of conflict. So some of the next ideas are not easy. Not like those first couple were easy either, right? But some other ideas that can help you is reduce your contact by limiting calls, visits, and emails. You can set boundaries and hold them. And I think for me, that one was the hardest, setting boundaries and holding them. Telling people they can't treat me that way. They're not allowed to do that. That they need to respect me and my space and my time. And so that's the boundary. And of course, if they have been used to going across that boundary, they're going to push back and it could get ugly. And you just got to hold it. And that was probably the hardest for me after I did the Rising Strong by Brene Brown. Well, I'll drop her book in there too. So she is really good about working through that. So stay neutral by not letting their tactics rile up. I don't know about you, but I'm certainly the kind of person that will react. I'm totally a reactor kind of person. And to do that one, I really have to make a conscious effort. So I have to know that, okay, I'm going into the situation. Let's say it's a holiday gathering, right? And you know somebody there that will dig on you for something that you've done. And so you prepare. This may sound really silly, but really role play that at minimum in your head. But a good thing is to role play that with your partner, especially if your partner is a safe person to be able to do this with, right? And so then, just role play it, go through your head, and that way you're prepared and you think through the situation. And that way it helps prevent you from getting riled up from what's actually happening. And if some people are like following your routine and track you, which is kind of like Cooperish stalker like, but one thing to do is just change your routine. Oh, you normally have lunch at 11. Guess what? You're going to change it to 12. Just simple things like that. Oh, you normally go to this Starbucks in the morning. Well, you can go to that Starbucks instead. So just other things like that for changing your routine. In the actual written blog, there are other tactics. There's a link to other tactics. There was really a great article of like 17 tactics that you can use in there. So I'm going to continue on with that, with what I've been talking about, right? So at the beginning, I mentioned Henry Nouwen in the Discernment, Reading the Signs of Life, copyright 13, the authors of that book, because it's Henry Nouwen et al., want you to look at the 3 people closest to you and understand what they reflect back to you. So that is a great discernment exercise to do. And so if I look at the 3 people closest to me, or the 3 people I can be most real with, then that's my mom, my closest friend, and God. Yeah, I'm thinking God probably needs to be moved up to that number 5 spot. I think, though, the reason why he's not in the number 5 is because God is pretty much all around and in all of those people, telling me, talking through them, most of them, if not all of them, some way or another. But anyway, so the people I can be most real with are my mom, my closest friend, and God. And the reason why you want to pay attention to what they have to say is that they reflect back to you and they offer signs to you to guide you along your path. So these 3 will help guide you in revealing in more detail your sealed orders from God. And I don't think I've talked about that book yet in this, in my series of blogs, but that book, that quote is from Sleeping with Bread, Holding What Gives You Life by Dennis Lin et al. And copyright 1995. So let's look at my 3 people. So my mom has been with me, of course, my whole life. She's someone whom I have come to trust as an adult friend. She has been at my side through thick and thin. She probably even knows the most intimate parts of my life, despite the variety of times that I actually try to keep things from her, right? She doesn't push too much, but allows me to reveal information in my own terms and on my own schedule. She supports me in all the crazy ideas and adventures that I go on, but she will toss out the caution flags and have me think about things before I move forward. My closest friend knows the darkest parts of who I am. He's always held the Christ light for me, even when I could not see it. He's walked with me through the toughest time of my life, through reproductive struggles and losing a child. He's been a guiding hand that has helped in the process of mending. He really is a spiritual companion, a leader, and a true shepherd, and he really is Christ-like. And of course, there's God, who's been there since the beginning of time. However, when it is he and I get to talk endlessly. And then I get to listen to him. Talking is important to this because I just get everything out. So I'm ready to listen. And to me, that's important because you need to be able to blah. So you've gotten everything out. And so then you are empty and ready to receive and to listen. And when I talk to God, I am real. I can be the most real with God because when I'm real with him, I can be real with myself. And I can let myself think thoughts that would normally get squashed. Furthermore, I can express raw feelings that normally get stuffed. And I can say things without being judged. Then, once I've expressed my unfiltered self, I can sit and listen. Listen in the silence. And watch and listen for the signs in books, nature, and other people. Even a piece of junk mail can speak volumes. I received one the other day that kind of shook me a little bit. So why are these numbers important? In a natural sense, they really aren't important, except to show you who's in your inner circle, or maybe your 2 most inner circles, depending on how you layer these, right? And as I stated above, your inner people are the most influential for who you are. Your inner 3 help reveal your path by reflecting who you are meant to be. And that's important, especially as we go through this life, this journey, this pilgrimage. It's better to understand who you're meant to be than to pretend to be somebody you aren't. Your inner 5 influence your thoughts and feelings about yourself. And for you to grow, your inner circles need to be made of people who raise you up. They need to be the people who want you to change for the better. They need to be the people who will hold the Christ light for you in your darkness. They need to be able to encourage and support you. And lastly, they need to be able to be gentle when they have to say things that you may not want to hear, because what they have to say will be for your benefit. So this week's challenge is figure out who your 5 people are. Who do you hang out with the most? Decide, are they basement people or are they balcony people? And how balanced is your inner circle? I mean, if it's off balance in the fact that like it's all balcony people, hello, yes. If it's more basement people, I would take a double check on that to see if, might want to take some of the other suggestions. That way you are risen up. You are raised up instead of brought down, right? And then list the 3 people you can be most real with. And then write about what they reflect back to you. Bonus, if you want to, you can send them a card and tell them how amazing they are, or spend some time with them, chat or listen. Look for signs that will help you along your path, because in your continued conversations with these people and interactions, you will find out more about yourself if you're paying attention, and you will be able to understand more about life in general. Anyway, so that is really the Birds of a Feather blog. If you have any other questions, I totally drop them in the comments and I'll answer them the best I can, right? So I don't know everything, but if I don't know it, then I will probably just look it up. Anyway, I am so blessed to be here with you tonight, or today, because if you see it in the morning, it'll be daytime, right? And I will check you out. I'm not going to check you out. Ooh, I will check you next week. All right, bye.